You are now tuning in to another Motivated for Christ podcast hosted by me, your boy TJ, on the Anchor app. Help me motivate people for Christ. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another Motivated for Christ episode 2 here. Hope y'all liked the first episode, one with Jennifer Lewis. It was a excellent interview with her. Big shouts out to her. But right now I have a very special guest, one of my good friends for a long time. Would you like to introduce yourself to the people?
Hello, everyone. My name is Sandora Irvin. I am, like I said, really good friends. We grew up in Fort Lauderdale together. I went to Fort Lauderdale High School. I had opportunity to do some great things, play basketball overseas, spent 6 years in WNBA, graduated from Texas Christian University. So I'm a Horned Frog, and I'm just happy to be here today with my good friend.
Good, big up to the Horned Frogs. I know I said that wrong, but we organic right now. This is what we do. And I'm kind of glad to have her here, with me, and we're gonna try to motivate people and motivate people who listening to the podcast right now. So, Sandora, can you please tell us a little bit about WNBA and why you was playing in there and how Christ really moved you from that to where you at right now?
Okay. Well, like I said, I went to Fort Lauderdale High School. Attended college at Texas Christian University. Always knew that I want to play in the WNBA. I was drafted first round, third pick. I faced a lot of challenges, I would say. For me, it was a big challenge going to the WNBA. I would say more so of when I was in college and in high school, I was, that player, But once you get into the WNBA, everybody's that player. Everybody's good, It's just like NBA and playing those type of leagues. It's everybody's on that level. So it's challenging. But not just I was not just saying just basketball wise, but also mentally, because now money is involved and it becomes more of entertainment. It becomes more of whereas when you're in college, you have you could say a contract where it can't be taken away, but at a WNBA level, everybody's after your spot. You're competing at that level, so you have to come with it every day. And you also have now there's a platform where fans can come in and say what they want to say. So there's a lot more that goes into basketball when you start getting paid to play.
So was it a type of fear when you first got there? When you did you lose the love for the game? You know what, I'm still going to ball out. I'm going to do my thing because, I'm in the WNBA. But it's like you said, it's more to it than versus college, and you have no fear. Was it fear involved when you first got there?
I don't know if it was fear necessarily. Of course, you as a rookie, you're nervous when you go in, and you're playing with some people that you actually looked up to. You're playing against. I remember the first time I walked into the room and I saw Lisa Leslie, and I had to remind myself that I was getting ready to, guard her, and I had to compose myself. So you're playing with the greats. So I think that every rookie and every player, goes through that where they're like, okay, that was Lisa Leslie. This is somebody that there's players that there's one of my teammates. She's out of Miami, Florida. Marie Ferdinand Harris. I used to watch her commercials, and we became great friends. So you got those type of things. But I would say more of, like I said, you deal with a lot. I think my first year, I was drafted into Phoenix with the Phoenix Mercury, and I played with players like Donna Taurasi's and the Penny Taylor. And my coach told me not to shoot the ball, That's one thing I was told. You become a kind of a role player. Pass the ball to down to Rozzy or pass the ball to these players. I don't know if everybody else knew I had that conversation with her, but that's the conversation I had. So my confidence, I had never had anyone to tell me that before.
Wow.
When I was in high school, I was that player, that would get the ball. I always had the ball. When I was in college, I got the ball, 95% of the time. So to have a coach tell me not to shoot the ball, that was different, but it did something to me internally, and it's actually affected me for a long time where I became very passive.
Yeah.
And that's when the fear came in, like, don't shoot it, just do this. And so I became a role player, and I lost my identity, as that, that aggressive, won the ball, I began to pass more. And so that affected me actually my whole career for a long time.
I remember in high school, we went to a game, and we were like, let Sandora run the point, let her run the point, because nobody can stop her. Like, she was slapping everybody ball in the game. She was slapping the guys' ball in PE. It was her. And I can tell you a story. I mean, when I first seen Sandora, I don't know if I told you this. When I first seen Sandora, I was like in the stands, and she had a basketball in her hand, and she was playing. Then one of my friends at the time, he was like, hey, man, she going to WNBA. Like, yeah. So I ain't gonna lie, I said, damn, she look kind of cute. I ain't gonna lie. I was like looking at her, okay. She did. I said, look at her, she balling, but, I had my crew, she had her crew, but it was cool, But like she said, you always had the ball in your hand. So in college, I was watching in college, and you getting blocks, and I think you got Defensive Player of the Year one time, right? Mm-hmm. That I was watching you too. I used to be on the couch like, dang, man, Sandora gotta, pull her back in the game. But the transition of, like, from you being the, person always with the ball versus you going to WNBA, I know it's going to be kind of tough, because now they tell you to take a back seat and you used to that leadership role. Because in high school, you just be that leader, like, okay, that's Sandora, that's the leader right there. I see you walking with your head up, that's Sandora, she finna do her thing. Y'all blowing one team out one time, I was like, dang, well, they didn't want to let you out of the game, but you was doing your thing. But it's tough. So how did that humble you?
Oh, I would say, because as we're talking and I'm thinking back on it, I we talk about the spiritual aspect of it. If we were to go back, before I started playing basketball, I remember we just go back to my childhood. One, being the only child, and being I think second grade, my grandma raised me. So, and I can remember the day my mom had me. I was very, very attached to my mom, and I remember my mom, at the time I didn't know what she was struggling with, drug addiction at the time. And there's some moments in your life, at 36, you can remember some, not everything, but there's some moments you can remember. And I remember being in the second grade, and there were some people that came, they had candy when I was in the office, and they were asking me questions. And there was one of the questions that was like, well, did your mom beat you? And I was like, I can't remember how old you are in second grade, but I remember saying, yeah, she, if I get in trouble, she beats me, And after that, I just remember that I no longer was with my mom, I was in my grandma's care. So I get bits and pieces of those things, but there's something that was, I guess, a traumatic moment in my life and something I really remember. And so now here I am, this only child, my mom, I'm not with my mom. My dad is, he's a good dad. He comes around sometime, but he's, doing his thing. But now I'm just here with my grandma. And I remember I was more of an introvert, so I didn't have a lot of friends, and I was extremely tall. So, but people, I got along with people, but I was just a little different. And I remember one day we were living in Cyprus, and they built a park outside. And I should say, that park was built for me. And I remember going outside. My grandma, she didn't like it. She didn't like, young girls being outside, because the guys out there, I was the only girl on the court. There was no guys out there. So she would she couldn't stand it, but I was just drawn to that park. And I remember going out there one day after they built, then there was a basketball court. And I was already tall, and I didn't like basketball. I didn't know anything. I didn't really know basketball like that. And I remember just waiting to get in. There was a lot of guys out there. They were playing, and I guess they had no choice, because I had been waiting so long. Yeah. So they let me in the game, and I remember just blocking one guy's shot, and everybody was like, "Ooh!" The crowd went crazy, and I remember just liking the way that felt. Liking the way everybody just went crazy, and I was like, okay, this is gonna be my neck.
Yeah.
This is gonna be my neck. So the crazy thing about it, I didn't know how to shoot. I didn't know how to dribble. I didn't know. The only thing I knew how to do was block a shot. And so that's what, because I got that type of attention. They would pick me on the team. That's what I did. But basketball. So I started playing. I started going out there. They gave me something to do. They gave me something, and then all of a sudden, I don't remember. I had a coach that somehow, the way God works, she found me. Or well, actually, I went to middle school, Pompano Middle, and I had my first coach. She followed me around, to school, and I was so tall. She's like, play basketball. I was like, no, I don't want to play. I want to cheer, whatever the case may be. But I was so tall, and she would follow me every day around the school. And I remember just getting tired. She wore me out, and I was just like, okay, I'll play. And went to practice, and I tell you, I fumbled the ball. Didn't know how to do anything, but I stayed with it, and I remember that we went to the championship. Went all the way to the championship, and we lost. And I just remember that moment, something happened to me where I felt something, like I felt this, like we gonna get them back next year. And I think she still had this letter. I wrote a letter. I say, we're gonna go undefeated next year.
Okay.
We're gonna go undefeated, and we're gonna win the whole thing. And sure enough, we went undefeated. I think she still has a letter, but I found my passion in that. But not only that, I started playing AAU. So now you have this kid that had no friends, didn't really know who they were, feeling rejected, no mother, no. Why am I? I would see my friends with their mom. Why is my mom not with me? I had my grandma. I know she loved me, but where's my family? Where's my love? So. And I didn't understand all this until later, when I started having different issues in WNBA. But there was a lot of rejection, and there was a lot of validation problems that I had, that didn't show when I was in college. It didn't show when I was in high school, because I got a lot of it from playing, because I was so good that people, they catered to me and love. I got the love, like Sandora this and Sandora that. So then now, when you're going into the WNBA, you're not getting that type of affirmation. You have to be confident, And so I think it wasn't necessarily fear, but more of, I think that I was not mentally and emotionally mature enough to handle people not encouraging me, and especially at a time when you're not playing, your third pick in the WNBA draft, but you're not playing. You tend to feel like coach doesn't like me. This person don't like me, and that person don't like me. And instead of being positive, instead of like working, I took the other role, which was to just say, oh, they don't like me, and I don't want to be here type role.
Okay.
Yeah, and so, but I do think that was necessary. And when we look at the spiritual standpoint of it, there were some other things behind the scene, which a lot of times go on with players, that all the fans see is they see what they do on the court.
Yeah.
They don't see what goes on behind scenes. They don't see what they deal with emotionally. We just talked about the other day that at TCU there's a player that Boykins, I don't know his first name, but he beat his girlfriend up, and he lost his, he no longer playing with the Seattle team, and and so there's a lot of things that we as athletes deal with, and we make good money and different things like that, but people ignore the other things, emotions, and so. I think that a lot of that was exposed, and I saw like where I was immature and I couldn't handle that level. Those girls are mature.
So, like you said, everybody, like let's say like LeBron James and like the NBA players, WNBA players, we see the glory on the court. They good, and the media bring them to a level that they are great. I guess that's the sales stuff. But behind the scenes, like you said, this spiritual standpoint, especially you as a Christian, or if you're not a Christian, you don't know actually what they're going through.
Right.
But I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, like these teams, they want you to perform. Like that's all they care about, you performing. Like they don't really care about the person, like what you could do for me, the team, and everything. And that's what they pay you for. At this point in your life, right? Let's go to the WNBA. Let's say you got a chance to talk to any like young ladies who actually want to go to WNBA. And not talking about WNBA, but what's behind the scenes. What can you tell us behind the scenes in the WNBA? That if a young lady is listening, that she sees the glory in basketball, the coach, and everything that's going on, right? But behind the scenes, like, what would you say? Hey, look, this is what's going on. I'm gonna prepare you for this. Don't make the mistakes that I made or how I was thinking. What would you tell a young lady that who's actually finna go to the draft?
Well, I would say, one of my things is when I talk to young, I like to talk to those kids that are not playing. I like to, I'm an encourager, because when if somebody can come back and tell me, okay, don't have that attitude, because attitude is everything. How you handle things, it can make or break you. So if I had more of an attitude, like, okay, I'm not playing, let me work, I would still be playing, I can overcome it. But if once you get in your mind that nobody likes you and nobody cares, it's a downhill from there. So when I do talk to young girls, I try to try to encourage them to just work hard and have fun. Because in that situation, whereas when I was in high school and college, I was having a good time. Like when you feel good and you play good, you just play. It's platonic. It's organic. It's you don't worry about. When you start worrying about other stuff, it's you're done for. It's hard to play. So I just encourage them that if they're going through things, it's like I had a teammate that actually went to TCU with me, and my situation was different. She was a point guard, and coming in, I started, coming in, and she was asked to redshirt because we had a senior guard, and she couldn't handle it, she couldn't handle not starting, and it wasn't that she wasn't good, it was just that a point guard's role compared to a post player's role is way different. Point guard is like the coach on the court, so they had a senior, so they just wanted her to sit back and learn. We're gonna give you 5 years, it's yours, just be patient, and she couldn't be patient, so and she ended up leaving, and we talked before. She's like, I wish I would have stayed, So just trying to get young women to, or anybody, really to. This is just period in life, just to understand, just to chill, and just kind of like look at it from a different perspective, and just think before you act, and see what you can control, and what you can change from your perspective, and make it better. But just to not to give them hope, and encourage them. Also, I think that for me, everybody have different perspectives on the WNBA. You've heard, about the homosexuality, and you've heard about different things. I feel like, basketball is great. I feel like women's basketball is amazing too. One of the things that I do feel like being an athlete, it can take from you is your femininity. You have a lot
really?
You have a lot of women that are it causes us to be very independent.
Okay, so okay. See, I didn't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
But why do you feel that it makes women, like, unfeminizing them, right? I guess that's the word.
Yeah.
Like, why does it do that?
Well, because we used to always say that coaches want you to be tough, gritty, hard. Okay. Those are the type of players they want, and so when you look at other women, they're more dainty and soft, and some of us are, you have Candace Parkers and you have the Skylar Diggins, but we train, we lift weights, we have muscles, compared to some other women, and I think that a lot of people criticize that, like, oh, they're men, you go through that, but it does make you hard. And when you talk about feminism, like we're the type of women that we do have our own. We have our own money. We travel. We see the world. We have our own businesses. We do a lot of things. And I think it's crazy because sometimes, like when a man plays basketball, back in the day, that's kind of the role. Men would go to work, women would stay home. But now, if you have a woman that's playing in the WNBA, because we don't make the money that the men make, so we have to play WNBA for 5-6 months of the year, and then we go overseas 5-6 months a year. It's where's the husband come in at? Because now she's away. She's away all year. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? So it makes them independent. It makes them, most majority, I won't say all, but majority of the women, then that's where you find the lesbianism comes in.
Question: What's the divorce? Like the divorce rate, like if you're a WNBA player, what's the divorce rate there? Would you know by offhand?
I would actually more say how many are married. I never thought about the divorce rate because I don't think. Well, there's marriage now, but it's more same-sex marriage.
Okay.
Actually, it's crazy, but I don't know. I see. There's not too many same. You know,
Same-sex marriage in the WNBA.
not same sex, but
Heterosexual marriage. Okay.
Yeah. So I can't even look at a divorce rate.
Oh, okay, but
Um.
they barely getting married. Like the women, barely getting married because they travel a lot.
It's hard.
It's hard.
You spend you sacrifice. Yeah. Again, the men, they make millions, so they don't have to go out of the country.
Yeah.
Yeah. Think about the times when I was playing, I would go WNBA, I would finish up and go straight back overseas. And when I'm done overseas, I would maybe take 2 weeks to go back to WNBA.
Do you feel that's good for women? Like, I mean, women having fun playing that's good, but do you feel like would that be like a hindrance on like society or something, or is like you say kind of like masculating women, and after it's over, right? You finish playing WNBA and stuff like that, and they actually want to get married and start dating. How many women offhand they probably struggle with something like that, trying to find a companion, because from high school to college to WNBA, then now they're not really being on the dating scene like that.
Yeah, most of the girls, I get what you're saying. Most of the young women that have boyfriends, they probably would, if they play in the WNBA, that's probably what they would do. You wouldn't see them really going overseas, or they would go and they probably wouldn't stay too long because it's distance.
Okay.
I actually love to hear a young lady, that thinks it through.
Okay.
Say, okay, I like basketball, I love it, but I'm going to go ahead and give me a job here, and that wasn't for me.
Okay.
Overseas wasn't for me. You have some women that are saying that now. That they're okay. And there was one player that's really good, but she was just like, yeah, it's just not for me. And her boyfriend plays NFL. And she took a job, really good job. She put a degree to use.
Okay.
She put a degree to use. I do. I'm all for when us doing things, and like I said, basketball was part of my life. I'm all for it, but I do think that it hinders, and it can be a problem. As far as on the dating scene, and when it comes to a man and a woman's relationship.
So we talk on the phone. We talk, and you be dropping jewels on me. You do me. You talk. So now let me ask you something, because a lot of women who might listen to it, I want you to hear what Sandora got to say. From your perspective, what is a role of a woman?
I'm old fashioned.
Okay, well, I wanted to hear.
Yeah, I am very old fashioned, and I wasn't always like this, because the way I grew up, I didn't see marriage. I saw my grandma. I saw strong black women. My mom, they worked. My grandma, she kept a job for years. And the way she raised me, straight A's. I went to school every day. So that part for me comes natural. Okay. I'm very independent. I'm very, I would say this. Yeah, you could say this. I don't need a man to do anything, which is good actually, because when God, when I think about it, God said, you it's not half and half. Half of me, half of you. It's two whole people coming together.
Okay.
So, but I'm old fashioned in that. Yes, I can go out and get the bread. I can clean my house. I can do all these things. But two is better than one. And I'm old fashioned in that way. And that kind of, I think that for the first couple of years, I didn't have this desire. I was okay, because I was traveling so much. I know I didn't have time for it. I know that I couldn't, really give myself in that place. I was actually engaged at one point, but I just wasn't ready, because I was still traveling, doing things. But as you get older and you realize, okay, basketball is not gonna last forever,
Exactly.
And you may want a family, It's like some female instincts start kicking in. It's like I want kids, at some point.
Yeah.
And also our bodies, we just kind of start breaking down, and you get older. Men, they play for a long time, but with women, I don't think, after 40, 40, 41, 42, you have some, I've seen some women that play 44,
Okay.
but that's getting up there. It's getting up there, at
Wow.
age. And so I think that we should start thinking about that, um, in our 30s, start working towards that, the family, if that's something that we want to
We
do.
do. Okay.
Yeah. But again, going back to the question, I'm old fashioned, so I believe in marriage. I believe in marriage between a woman and a man. And but I just think that playing basketball, there's things that I question too. Like, when I get around guys, are they worried about the muscles? Are they worried about
Yeah.
the independence? Are they like a lot of guys tell me they're intimidated?
Okay.
And is it because I know who I am? Is it because I'm a strong woman?
Mm-hmm.
This is just a lot of things, a lot of questions, and then we talk about submitting.
Yeah.
And
What about that? Like submitting? Could you submit to a man?
yeah, I can, because
Okay.
you just have to. Some people, I think people run from that, like they ain't gonna tell me what to do, but that's not what it is.
But why do women say that?
Because they feel like women feel like it's, we feel like we're equal sometimes, like, which
Okay.
we are. God made us equal,
Okay.
but he put things in place, in order.
Okay.
He made the woman a weaker vessel, and and some things just are innate. It's nature. You just know that a man is stronger. It's just like saying, I think, who was it? Mark Cuban said, "Oh, he's gonna get a Brittany Griner, a basketball player, to play in the NBA." That just don't make sense.
Yeah.
I know that we talk about equality and stuff like that, but to put a woman in the NBA, come on, it's just, there's just some muscles that we don't have, and some things that we don't have, and
Yeah.
God did that for a reason. He gave man a little bit more, as far as just being tougher, and not to say we're not tougher than y'all, but you see what I'm saying? Like, it's just some things that just come naturally that you don't even need God to tell you. You just know.
Yeah. I
that He's
believe
a natural protector.
it's certain areas you understand that. I always say this right here. Women is better multitaskers than men.
Mm-hmm.
They can handle stuff. They can, like, if a baby crying, like, they understand what the baby is saying because they nurturers. They they understand. Like, a man, like, okay, I don't know what the baby's saying, what the baby want. But women, all women have it built into them.
Mm-hmm.
And women say that, oh, I'm not good enough to take care of a baby. I don't know, and that's like, no, it's in you.
Natural, yeah.
It's just natural. That's like, man, what we have is natural. We're not. Some men is natural leaders. Some men just be natural to lead. You just have to tap into it.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it takes another man to show you the way to tap into it, so this is this is my place. This is what I have to do. You have to find your identity, and it comes through your father.
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't have a father to show you who you are,
Mm-hmm.
then most of our women and men, they turn to the streets
Mm-hmm.
or the TV.
Mm-hmm.
So when they turn to that, okay, well, this must be who I am. So that's when we have everybody want to be a rapper. Everybody want to be in the NBA. Everybody want to be in WNBA. Everybody want to do this.
Mm-hmm.
For instance, like I'm put like this. I'm drop some knowledge. For instance, I just recently got into the stock market.
Mm-hmm.
Nike's like $65 about one share. But you go to the store and buy some Nikes like $100. Why you won't own a piece of Nike for $65
Mm-hmm.
and make money off of it versus you going to buy shoes? So it's stuff that we don't know. But back to that is some men just don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not people being intimidated. It just some people be scared, but number one, you have to look at the heart. Like, if God won't judge you, he's gonna look at your heart. He don't care how you look. He's looking at your heart.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that most people, if is any women out there, and it's not about your looks. If the person look at your heart and they love you for who you are, then you got a good guy. Like, like a man. If a woman look at your heart and she judge you by your heart and your character and how you are, yes, you have some fool you out there for the beginning, but you be straight up off, be who you are first, and you won't have to change nothing later.
Right.
That's the thing I say. But like I was saying, there's a lot of women out there I could say is that, they feel that they're not worthy or the insecurities that they have.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of, like you said, if your father wasn't there, like for instance, my father, he was there, but I had to turn to God.
Mm-hmm.
I had to study, pray, study, know who I am. And like you say, if God made men in His image,
Mm-hmm.
guess what? In men, we made us the head. We have to act like it.
Right.
We have to act like, because if we don't, then guess what? The women got to step up. Now the women got to step up, and guess what? Now it's the order is getting messed up. The order is getting messed up, and God is the God of order.
Right.
So if He made God, man, woman, children, that right there. I explained to y'all right there. That's the order, and that's the line for blessings. Like that's the blessings line. Like it rains down from the man to the mother to the children. But back to what you were saying.
Yeah.
Because I want you to help our women out.
Yeah, I think we it's just a lot, it's a lot that people can say, it's a lot that goes into it. Like whether you, I think the training starts at home. Like you said, when you have the marriage, first of all, you have a marriage, you have a husband and a wife, and a lot of kids, it's not what you tell them, it's what they see. You can say a lot of stuff, but then if you live in a certain way, a lot of things that I learned was not by what my grandma said, but what I learned when she was just doing different things,
Okay.
So I didn't have the male in the house, but I had her, so I was watching her get up every morning and go to work, get up keep the bills paid, keep a roof over our head. I didn't see a man doing that, but that was the role of the man that you hear, So as a woman, that's something I know how to do. Now, and as women too, because of most of our men, whether they're locked up or they have challenges nowadays, but it's always, since day one, a woman has always been able to work, take care of the kids, keep food on the table. She's strong, she's built like that.
Yep.
God made the woman like that, but it would just make it a lot easier. She wouldn't be as stressful if she had help. And that's why I say that, okay, yeah, I may not need necessarily a man to pay my bills. I mean, I need him, but it would be nice to have one to pay my bills. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That way, and in living the world we live today, things are expensive, and you want to have things. You want to put your kids through college. You want to travel. And that's where two becomes better than one. It's like, it's not saying that woman, you have to like give up your hopes and your dreams. Hey, both of y'all do it. Hey, you go to school, study, and follow your passion. He following his passion, or y'all doing something together.
Yeah.
And then now you can put your kids in the best schools. You can travel and see the world. You can't really do that, or you could, if you really work hard. But you're gonna, if you're single doing it, it's gonna be difficult. You're gonna miss a lot of sleep. You're gonna miss a lot of time with the kids. Because you're gonna be working 2 or 3 jobs. Trying to, put them through school, whatever the case may be. So, and then when we talk about submitting, it's not necessarily that he can walk over the woman. It's more of allowing him to, because even in submission, like the man, he a good man will console his wife.
Exactly.
He's gonna, because he knows she's the brain. He understands that, that's why he married her. When he looks for one, he want to find someone that he can trust and go to, and get her opinion. But a lot of women are scared of that word submission, and but again, bringing it back to basketball, I think it's just, I sit back and try to understand some things too. Like I said, getting just back with the homosexuality and the things that are so dominant in our league, me myself, I question like what's wrong, what's up, and could it be, that, like I said, this fact that we're going after money too, we're chasing the money too, we're chasing our careers, and that leaves some issues there, and like I said, it's crazy. You say what's the divorce rate, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Too many marriages
there. How, I mean, you've been out of the WNBA for a while now. From the outside looking in now, and I know you probably talked to a couple of people still playing. You probably do. How you think that how God really feel? Like if you can actually talk to God, what you think he'll say about the WNBA and you say like the homosexuality going on in there.
I would say for me, like when I remember how I told you basketball, I mom gave me up. I fell in love with this game, and it gave me a sense of identity. Then people began to, I got love from playing ball, so I did well because you got the rewards from it, and it gave you so much. It gave me so much more, and but now I'm in a place where now I'm not. You get drafted, and you're not playing. So now it's like, who am I?
Yeah,
You start
okay.
questioning, who am I now? You're not getting the support and the love that you was getting when you was balling. Now you're not doing well, and I thank God for it because I was headed down that road. I had
Okay.
my testimony. I was there. Where it happened. I started liking women, but it wasn't something that I was in high school doing. I would go balling was my basketball. That basketball was like, what we watched Love Basketball. She would say, they said, "Who you going to prom with?" Spalding,
Yeah.
and like I was that girl. Like basketball was like everything, but I was exposed to that lifestyle. I was exposed to it. I remember like, and I battled it, and I grew up in church. Not saying I fully knew God the way I do now, but I knew that from what I was taught, this is wrong, but that's all you see,
Okay.
And we had a player, come out named Candace Wiggins, and she talked about it. She said she was bullied and things like that. And people ask me how I feel about it. And yeah, it's there, it's there. And I don't necessarily know if you get bullied, but you have to be tough and you have to know who you are. And I don't think that's just with women's basketball. I think in NBA, I think it's, for us, it's homosexuality, but in the NBA, it's cheating on your wives, your teammates bringing women and men go through that too, but maybe not on that level, but more of women having to resist that and it's encouraged. It's encouraged. Don't bring your wife. We got you this, and come on, go out here. So that's encouraged. So you at those places, you have to know who you are. And so with any young lady like playing, just that they're gonna go through it, sometimes you just know they're gonna go through it. You gotta pray for them, but it's just I encourage them to know who they are, like, and that's not just with homosexuality, but with drinking goes on, partying goes on, and you get into a lot of all kind of stuff, and that's it's just in sports. Period. It's a lot of things that you're exposed to, that's free to you, given to you. You VIP everywhere you go, and so it's a lot of challenges that these kids, even college players, that they face because again, when you good, people give you all kind of stuff, and so you just try to, for me, I have this nonprofit called Born with a Purpose, and we try to get them young, try to talk to the high school kids and the middle school kids, and we do a free camp, and part of it's basketball and part of it's classroom, and in there we try to talk to them. We teach them and we put them on the court, but then we let them know, hey, there's more to it than just basketball. What do you want to do? Basketball, you play basketball, but that's not who you are.
Yeah.
And so what do you want to do with your time? Playing this game, and it's not going to last forever. It's not going to be there forever. What do you want to do after it's over? That's where I'm at now. I'm not playing anymore. So now it's like, okay, what's next?
Yeah.
Like what? And it's like, if you're not careful, and basketball is all you find people killing themselves.
Yeah.
You find people strung out on drugs because those things are their identity. They didn't know who they were. And for me, it was good that God stopped me on the bench. It was a good thing. At the time, it didn't feel like it. But it was good because I was headed down the wrong
road.
Yeah, and he was like, okay, this is not your identity. This is not who you are. This is what you do. This is a gift, but you need to know me. So in that time that I was going through, I ended up crying out to God because I just couldn't understand why I wasn't playing, and but yeah, I'm still in this league. And there's times where I wanted to quit. I can remember my second season. If they were here today, I called my GM, I called my manager, and I was like, I'm done. I don't want to play anymore. And they called me back like 30 minutes later, like, okay, you're traded to San Antonio. And I was like, how can you train somebody that just quit?
Yeah.
And that's when God, he let in my spirit, I felt him saying, because I said, okay, I want to evangelize. I just go do ministry. I don't want to do this. I didn't want to go through that. It's like, almost like God was saying, no, this is where I have you. This is where I have you. This is where your ministry is, And so even in times when I wasn't playing, I was talking to my teammates. There would be players that come in that were technically supposed to compete with me for my spot, and we would end up being, and I'm supposed to hate them. I'm supposed to hate that player. But that would be the player I end up ministering to.
Because I remember you was, you told me one time you was used to have Bible study in your apartment in San Antonio?
Yeah, I had that player I told you, that was the one that would, I laughed because this is the player that I also watched. She had a Reebok commercial. I know you heard, it was like, she shoots, she scores, Marie Ferdinand. It was something like that. And I watched the commercial all the time, and I met on there. She was the one, we were roommates. She was older than me, and she woke me up. She had a kid, so she got up early in the morning. She would be up at like 5 o'clock in the morning. We on the road, we got a game. She'd be up bright and ready to go, and she'd be like, come on, let's read, let's pray, let's read. And I'm just like, okay, let me brush my teeth. Let me brush my teeth. But yeah, we would have Bible study, so I wasn't playing, but I was ministering.
Yeah.
And maybe that was God's will, because maybe if I was so focused on the game, I was doing my thing, I wouldn't have had time for the Lord and had time for those people that were coming in. I still get cards nowadays from some of the girls that were like, thank you. And they were struggling with the lifestyle. They were struggling with a lot of things, what's going on with them.
And this is what I tell you. I know, not to get personal, everybody, but this is me and Sam, we talk, and I try to encourage her a lot. But you have to push your ministry. God using you, you go through stuff for a reason. On Jennifer Lewis, she went through stuff in a period of her life that God using her now for the ministry, just like you. I tell people all the time, don't feel bad. If you're going through something, don't feel bad. There's a reason why you're going through it.
Right.
God might place these feelings in you that, oh, I got to do this. I must do this. I want to do this. When can you do it? And God said, oh, dang, God brought me from here. You have to think about others. You got to have a heart for others. Like you motivate the kids and you motivate others. God He sees the big picture. I always tell people that what I learned is God have the parade view of your life. We are in the parade, walking the streets, but He's on top in the sky, looking at the end of the parade. So He knows your end. So that, me personally, that encourages me, because I know God knows the end. And then I don't have to worry as much, which is pretty cool. And just for you, you've been through a lot. You've been all over the world. You've seen different people, homeless people, just all over, high, low, everything. But I like how you accepted it. This is me. This is what's going on. This is my life. Now, a lot of people don't have that chance to have that knowledge and understanding. Like, okay, well, you know what? Hey, I've been through this, and God bring me here, so now this is what I gotta do. What's next? And me personally, I believe that what's next is for you to use your testimony, your voice, talk to these other people.
Right.
WNBA, whoever, just kids who high school use that. Because what's what we have to do.
Right.
We've been talking for a while, like 42 minutes now, which is good. But another thing I want to ask you. To you being like a woman of God now, and you like spend like a lot of time with them, right? Women who struggling to hear God's voice, what type of advice you would give them to get closer to God more?
The Bible, there's a scripture in the Bible that says, and we go back to marriage, because God didn't. The marriage is God's. That's how Jesus relates to us. He says we're the bride, right? He's coming back for that bride. That scripture in the Bible says a man that finds a wife, finds a good thing, obtain the favor from the Lord. one of the things when we look at that scripture, it says find a wife. So that means she's already a wife. A wife to who? You see, so he doesn't find a girlfriend. He finds a wife. That means she's already in that role.
Yeah.
So what I've learned over the years is that when I've tried to figure out, okay, how am I supposed to? Who am I as a woman? How does that look? What is that? I'm very independent, very strong, very stubborn at times. And in my relationship with the Lord, like I found out that the first relationship for a woman is with Him.
Exactly.
And He is not only a father, but he's almost he's like a husband. He's an Isha. That's what they call him. And so before I can give myself to a man, I first must give myself to Him. Once you learn how to submit to God, submit to a man is not hard.
Wow. Say it again. I want you to say it again. Say that again.
Yeah. Once you learn to submit to a man, to God, submitting to a man is not hard. That's where it's not a problem, because you already know how to trust God.
Okay.
So then when you trust God, you trust Him to bring you the right person or the right job or the right, and that's how it's been for me. It's just like I take my, and as someone coming out of homosexuality, coming out of those, just everything, vainness and wanting things just for myself, it's all about submission. Life is about submitting to God. You can have things, but don't let things have you. God allows us to have money, cars, gifts, abilities, jobs, all kind of things. Everything we want is in His life. But at the end of the day, He also says that this all fades away. So what's left? What's left is you and Him. At the end of the day, there is no marriages in you. I don't think there's marriage in heaven. So out of everything, it's just that we have to submit to God. And I think that that's what happened in that time where I was going through. It was perfect because it caused me to humble myself and say, okay, God, I need you, because I never really said that before, even though I was going to church, but now that I'm humble, and sometimes you go through some things because God has to humble you to get you to the point where you do need Him. And so in that time, it brings you to that place where you're like, as a woman, you're like, I look to Him, because I didn't have the man in the household. So guess where most of my question is like, okay, how am I supposed to act? How am I supposed to dress? I ask God that. Because now you look around and you don't know what, you got women dressing like this. This is what the world tells you to look like. Wear this and wear that, and I'm just like, what's pleasing unto you? Yeah. So as a woman, we have to, you first go to your father, he's your husband, and you ask him, you submit to him, and you see who, because he knows what he put in you. So if he give you the ability to play basketball, nothing wrong with it. Mm-hmm. Play basketball, and the Bible says, seek my kingdom and my righteousness. So even in playing, don't forget who you are, whatever job or career, go do that. God gave you that gift. Be mighty women. Yeah. Most guys, they want strong women. Yeah. Strong woman. That's powerful. More powerful than a weak woman that just submit to him and he control everything. She doesn't do anything. No man will do that. Exactly. Yeah. So just to build that relationship with God first before anything else, because you really can't give yourself to anything else. Not just a man, but to anything else. You don't know how to be a mother. You don't know how to do anything without God's wisdom, because He's the only one that knows those kids, what they're going to be. So you have to pray and ask Him how to raise them up. When He gives it to you, it's from Him. Everything is from Him. But even playing basketball is like, once I realized, okay, this is for you. Once I still played for another 10 years after that. It became more of, okay, this is for your glory. But it took me going through. Took you going through
that fire to become gold.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what most ladies have to do. You go through that fire to become gold. Mm-hmm. I think I heard somebody say that, when a woman is looking for a man, she find a devil. Women shouldn't be actually looking for a man, but how do women dress nowadays? And I think I said the statistic on the Realcast. Shouts out to my boy Real. Said that for Fort Lauderdale, for every one man is 4 women. Mm-hmm. So it's like the man is slimming. Mm-hmm. So like you said, man's getting locked up. So a lot of women have to settle for these men because Just none out there.
Yeah.
Like,
But when you know who you are, and when you go back to the identity, now that okay, basketball is not who I am. Okay, that's gone because obviously that's not who I am because I'm not that player anymore. Like, or in my mind, I'm not. You know, I'm sitting on the bench. Um, everything in my world that I identified with and that made me feel validated is gone. Now I turn to my father and he's telling me, you are the head and not the tail. You are, you know, you can do all things through Christ who strengthens you. You know, he's telling me these things and now I'm, okay, you know, this is who I am. And now when that a guy comes, he can't come to me any kind of way. And it's not that oh, I'm not this, I'm that, I don't think I'm, no, I just know who I am. So, you know, I'm not looking for to be your girlfriend. You know, I'm somebody's wife. You see what I'm saying? So, because I know who I am. So, it's, women have to get to know their father and let him tell them who they are.
Yeah.
You know,
but the way they know, the way they figure it out is what?
The way they figure it out in that time with him.
Time with him.
Yeah.
Okay. A lot of women not spending time with him.
Get in your word. You know, it's not just going to church and hearing the pastor. Open up your Bible. Like, you know, a lot of preachers, you know, they say women can't preach and da-da-da-da. Okay, you know, but get in your, we can get in our word, you know, and God wants us to know him too, you know, and he said for the women to teach the young women and to teach the children, you know. How do you teach them if you don't know, you know? So we have to we have to get to know God for ourselves.
Okay. So, you know what I do is I'm gonna give you the floor. Motivated for Christ, I'm gonna give you the floor. I want you to say something to the people to motivate them. If they're listening in their car or, you know, they're listening at work, can you give them a word of encouragement to motivate them to keep going and be strong in the Lord and keep it moving, you know, and seek him first?
I would just stick with that. I would say that we live in a world where we honestly don't have control, you know, of anything. You know, you got school shootings, you have, I think I was another thing in Florida, somebody, you know, FIU, they drove and the bridge fell down on these things. You know, we all have, I like to say expiration dates, just like a food. You know, we have an expiration date. And sometimes we think we're so in control of our lives, you know, but every last one of us have a day when we're going to expire and we do not know that date. You know, we here today, gone tomorrow. My mom passed away, my best friend passed away. We had no idea that they were going to be gone, you know. And so one of the things that the name of my organization is called Born with a Purpose. We have to live on purpose. You know, I think there's a way to enjoy life, you know, and give your best, you know, but don't forget about God. You know, there's a way, you know, you can have things, you know, like I said, have a job and play basketball and do whatever your heart desires, but don't let it have you. Keep God at the forefront of it. You know, keep it, you know, do it for his glory. You know, I've said it to any Christian, any man or woman of God. It's just to that the only thing that lasts is that, like, you may not understand anything else, but I think that the Bible says that God, I know the Bible says that God gives a peace that surpasses all understanding. There are so many things that we just don't understand. Yeah. Just beyond us, you know, that, you know, this job, do I take this one? You know, sometimes you have the good job in front of you, have another good job in front of you. Which one do I go? Which way do I take? You know, you don't know. And so that's where that relationship with God comes in. I can say, okay, God, I don't know which one. Close this door, the door that you don't want me to walk through, and open the door that you do want me to walk through. Make some things happen because I really can't see. You know, you may have a dude that, you know, he looks like, and he was all that, you know, he talked a good game, and then at the end of the day, he's like, oh, that's not what we, you know, are married. So, and even in that decision making, it's like, God, show me what, you know, choose that one for me, or, you know, so just, it's like when you had a relationship with him, get that relationship with him and involve him in everything, because we don't know. You don't know the things that's going to happen. You know, sometimes you don't understand it, and a lot of people are depressed. A lot of people are on drugs. It's a lot of depression going on right now. A lot of things, people killing themselves, a lot of suicide because they don't have hope, you know. So I would just strongly say, you know, build a relationship with God, you know, put that trust in him, even if you can't see him. You know, I feel like it's better to do that than just kind of be out here like this, because we don't know. what tomorrow holds. We don't know what our future holds. Sometimes we don't know who we are, but he can help us to identify and, like I said, keep going.
Okay, yeah, I heard it first. My good saying, Sandora Irvin. Hope I enjoyed it. Another Motivate for Christ. Want to give a shout out to him, Tall. He's still out of town. You know. You want to say something to Terry?
What's up, Terry? Haven't seen him in a while. Long time.
Long time.